Princess Avani was renowned for her beauty and arrogance. She was the only child of her parents. When she went out for a ride, people would hide in their houses, close doors and windows, and shopkeepers would pull down the curtains of their shops. Passengers would turn away from their path and walk in the alleys. If by mistake someone was left on the way, they were to return face down to where they were. There was a strict royal order for those who went against this royal decree, with the soul-chilling law of putting hot iron rods in their eyes. One day, Princess Avani was passing through the market with her many bodyguards when an old traveler entered quickly from the other side. The old man, a poor fisherman with a basket full of fish on his head, saw the princess's convoy coming toward him, and he didn't have enough time to hide. If he threw his basket and lay face down on the ground, all his fish would die. The convoy reached him, and the princess's soldiers arrested him. The arrogant princess saw him and ordered her soldiers to arrest the daring man. According to the royal decree, after 2 days, hot iron rods should be inserted into his eyes. Hearing this, the old fisherman started trembling and said, "O princess, O queen, please show mercy, considering the age of this poor fisherman." But Princess Avani was not moved by his words. She said, "Punch out the eyes of this lowly devotee," and moved ahead with her convoy. The old fisherman kept begging for forgiveness out of fear. His hands and legs were trembling, causing his fish to scatter. With flowing eyes, he started picking up the fish. The princess's soldiers threatened him, saying, "What are you doing, you impolite man? You have ruined the road. You don't have time for this." Meanwhile, a young man came and collected the old man's fish, putting them back in his basket. The soldiers angrily told the young man to go away and measure his way. The young man decided to teach Princess Avani a lesson and left from there. The young man had decided to break the princess's hollow pride. He reached the princess's palace and looked for a way to enter. He saw that there was a very strict guard at every step, and the princess's soldiers were guarding her palace well. After observing for some time, he waited for the right opportunity and returned. Princess Avani kept a strict guard all around her palace, even at night. When she slept, her special guards stood around her bed, keeping watch. One day, for reasons unknown, Princess Avani decided to sleep alone. Looking for this opportunity, the young man, who had been waiting for a long time, finally took his chance. At midnight, he dodged all the palace guards and entered the princess's room. He saw that she was sleeping peacefully, and the room was filled with many royal treasures. His eyes fell on a red diamond kept there, and the whole room was illuminated by its shine. Quietly, he picked up the diamond and left the palace the same way he had come. When Princess Avani woke up and saw the room dark, she became frightened. Alarmed, she got up from the bed and reached for the chain tied to the bell. She pulled the chain. Hearing the loud sound of the bell, the princess's servants rushed in. The king and queen also arrived, hearing the sound of the bell. The queen said, "Oh, what happened to my child? Let's go to her quickly." When the king and queen reached Princess Avani's room, they saw servants standing near her. They said, "Malika, we have sent someone to call us." The king asked what happened, and Princess Avani told him that her father had kept the red diamond in the room. The king immediately ordered his soldiers to search quickly, as the thief must still be inside. But the young man had left long ago. In the morning, the king made an announcement throughout the kingdom. Whoever brings back the princess's stolen diamond would be given a huge reward. When the young man heard about the king's announcement, he was very happy. He was now ready for his next step. The young man's plan to break Princess Avani's pride was now going according to his plan. He appeared before the king and bowed down before the throne with great respect. The king saluted the young man and asked, "Who are you?" The young man said respectfully, "King, I have brought the prince's stolen diamond. Now, as per your promise, fulfill my desired condition." The king was happy to see the diamond and said, "Tell me, what do you want?" The young man said, "King, I request that the punishment of gouging out the eyes of the old fisherman who was imprisoned for seeing Princess Avani be forgiven, and those soldiers who arrested him and abused me should be flogged." The king asked in surprise, "What was your relationship with that old fisherman?" The young man said, "I have no relationship with him except humanity. No, just seeing her condition, I felt pity for her. And anyway, just by looking at her, what harm did Princess Avani suffer?" Hearing this from the young man's mouth, the king was furious. He got up and ordered his minister to put this wretch in prison, and as per the promise, he released the old fisherman. He went and gave 50 lashes each to those soldiers who arrested him and abused me. The young man heard the king's order and asked the king, "Why are you punishing me with imprisonment?" Then the king said, "First of all, you took the princess' red diamonds. You stole the diamond, and on top of that, you insulted Princess Avani." The young man said to the king with great respect, "Your Majesty, I stole the diamond to save the old fisherman from punishment. You are not doing the right thing. If you do this, I will escape from your prison and steal your crown." The king said, "You stupid boy, you cannot even come near my crown." The king signaled the soldiers to take him to the prison. As soon as they got the signal, the soldiers caught the young man and took him to the prison and locked him up in the prison. The young man was sitting in the prison and was happy as he wanted. It was happening exactly as he wanted. Now he was fully ready for his next step. The king went to Princess Avani and gave Hiralal to her and told her the whole story. Princess Avani said, "Oh my father, that wicked man has the audacity to steal Hiralal from my room, and now he is trying to steal your crown. The wicked man should stand in the middle of the crossroads and get both his hands cut off so that he never thinks of doing such a thing again." The king said to Princess Avani, "Daughter, don't worry, whatever you say will be done to him." The king announced in the whole kingdom that tomorrow morning every person of the kingdom should come to the city crossroads and go to the middle of the crossroads to arrest the wicked young man who had committed theft in the princess' palace. Standing up, both his hands of the king will be cut off. When the minister goes to the prison to give this news to the young man starts laughing loudly and leaves and says, "You all have gone mad. Who will stay here till morning? I will go tonight only and run away from here with the king's crown." The minister ordered the jailer to put a strict guard all around the jail tonight. And it is morning. Then the king ordered the minister to go quickly bring that low devotee. I myself am also eager to see his hands cut off. The minister immediately went towards the prison saying, "Ujurji, sir." He told the jailer. He said, "Bring the young man." When the inspector goes inside the jail and looks around, he finds only handcuffs lying there. The inspector's feet slip away. He runs to the minister and tells him that there is nothing except handcuffs there. The boy has escaped from the jail. The minister said, "Your Majesty, now you don't." The inspector said, "Your Majesty, I don't know how that boy did it because tonight I was keeping an eye on him myself and was going to check on him every now and then." The minister said, "I don't know anything. Take the inspector to your Majesty." When the minister reached the king and told him the whole story, the king's face turned pale, as if his soul had left his body. He ran towards his bedroom in a hurry and found that his crown was also missing. If you cut the king, there would be no blood. Princess Avani comes to her father's palace and sees the king is sitting sad. Princess Avani asked him the reason for his sadness. The king said, "What is the benefit of my being a king when a simple thief boy enters my palace and takes away whatever he wants?" Princess Avani said, "I think all the servants are in cahoots with that low devotee, but you should not be sad. Oh my father, there is a way to catch him and to get your crown back. You should have that old passerby imprisoned again and announce in the entire city that the old fisherman's eyes have been taken out and he has been kept captive in the princess' palace. And she will definitely come to rescue him. The king's order was just a matter of time, and in a short while, soldiers captured that old passerby. The king kept the old fisherman comfortably in the royal room and, as per his plan, announced in the entire kingdom that the old man's eyes have been taken out and he has been kept captive. When the young man came to know about this, his body got on fire and he said to himself that when years could not be done on me, then I picked up that old passerby, but now enough is enough of all this. It is time to end it. When night fell, the princess' palace was guarded tightly. Royal soldiers were deployed at every step. He himself was standing alert with weapons. The king was also patrolling in disguise, but then suddenly a heart-rending scream was heard from the princess' palace. The king Anand rushed into the prince's room. When he saw, the princess was lying on the floor and her whole body had turned blue. Immediately, the royal physician was called. When the physician checked the princess, he was shocked. In a trembling voice, he said to the king, "Please forgive me, my lord. The princess is now in this, she is not in this world. She died due to the bite of a poisonous snake." It was as if a mountain of troubles fell upon the king. He started crying loudly. He felt that, "Daughter, you cannot leave me. Without you, I will also give up my life." The whole palace was filled with screams and cries. The minister's eyes fell on a chair kept there on which the king's royal crown was kept. The minister said, "I am sorry, sir. This is not the right time, but all this is done by that thief. He left a poisonous snake here, and he also kept your crown there in grief of the prince's death." The king cries the whole night. When the morning comes, he buries Princess Avani as per the rituals. The whole city was in tears due to the grief of the princess. A strange silence was spread everywhere. All the shops of the city were closed. Everyone was praying for the princess. The next day, when the king went to offer flowers at the grave of the princess, he saw that the grave of the princess was dug up and the body of the princess was missing from the grave. The king was shocked. He lost his senses and fell on the ground. When the minister sprinkled cold water on him, he regained his consciousness, but the king was still unconscious. He was looking at everyone as if he did not know anyone for 4 days. After the treatment, he regained his senses. The king was not as much saddened by the prince's death as by her body's disappearance. He called a whole squad of special spies from other states and asked them to find the prince's body. By now the spies had spread out in every nook and corner of the city, but little did they know the princess's thief had already left the country and had already dug the grave and taken out the prince's body. It was none other than that young man who was determined to break the princess' pride and destroy her pride. He was riding very fast, carrying the prince's body on his horse. Continuing from there, he was moving ahead and reached outside the city of Baghdad. He hid the body of the princess in the bushes. He brought a box and put it in the box. He laid the princess in it. He went inside the city and rented a room in an inn. When night fell and everyone slept, the young man opened the box and he uttered some mantras and turned into a snake. The young man sucked out all the poison from the bitten part of the princess and came back to his original form. After some time, Princess Avani sat up with a sigh. She asked for water. The young man gave her water. When Princess Avani regained consciousness, she said, "Where am I? Who are you? I just had a terrible dream that I died after being bitten by a snake and I was buried. Then you came and took me out of the grave and brought me here on a white horse. But that dream was not a dream but a reality. Why did you bring me here? What is your purpose? And how do you steal in the palace when so many soldiers are around?" The bewildered princess showered questions. Then the young man said, "Listen, princess, if you really want to know, then my name is Ben Mustafa is my father, He was a great magician who taught me his knowledge. From there, I have taught you the method of changing into a snake. I used to enter your palace in the form of a snake. The snake whose bite caused your death was none other than I was myself. I knew what snake bites are. I was the one who knew that the snake's bites, if a person's poison is sucked out within 3 days, he becomes alive again. I did all this to teach you a lesson and to break your empty pride, and now you will be my slave forever, and this is your punishment. Princess Avani was stunned after hearing everything. She could not say anything. After some time of silence, Princess Avani apologized and said, I have done harm to so many people in the pride of my power I don't know. Forgive me. But the young man? Princess Avani's remorseful words had no effect on the young man. Princess Avani was so upset that she could not say anything. The young man brought her home like a prisoner, or should I say a maid. For some days Princess Avani requested the young man to leave her with her father, but the young man did not have faith in her. He thought Princess Avani was saying all this under compulsion and to get free from his captivity. Time passed and Princess Avani, now giving up her ego, she started doing all the household work like a wife and taking care of every small thing of the young man. Slowly the young man's heart also started to feel soft towards Princess Avani. Instead of harshness, he started to love her. Then thought, I am not a small girl. The magician boy and the princess of that country met again. The day came when the young man left Princess Avani alone at home to test her and gave her full opportunity to run away, and thought that when I return at night then I will find Princess Avani and I will tell her my hurt's feelings. Time till night. The young man waited with great difficulty. He left for home with a beating heart. Many thoughts were running in his mind. At the same time, when the young man came home at night, he saw Princess Avani had not gone anywhere but was engrossed in her work as usual. Today, the whole day, after thinking and pondering, he decided that he had no future with Princess Avani. There was a huge wall of prestige and status between them, so he would leave her safe to the king. In the morning, he took Princess Avani to the king. When the king saw his daughter safe and sound, tears of joy flowed from his eyes. He hugged Princess Avani and shot her with many arrows at once. The young man apologized to the king and told him the whole story. After listening to everything, the king ordered his minister to hang him immediately. But Princess Avani said no to her husband. My father, I did not tell him. He did all this to destroy my ego. Now I have accepted him as my husband from my heart. If something happens to him, I will also sacrifice my life. The king, compelled by the love for his daughter, got both of them married. Now, like before, there was no law left. The subjects also started living happily. Here Princess Avani and the young man were also happy with each other. Conclusion: true power and greatness is not only in external power, rule or ability, but in self-realization, humility and in recognizing the goodness within. Princess Avani, who was intoxicated with the ego of her power and beauty, is mistakes and reality. After accepting Princess Avani's crime, the young man tries to change himself. The young man, who was earlier motivated only by the thought of revenge and punishment, gradually overcomes his harshness and anger and adopts a new attitude by forgiving her. The story also teaches that the true punishment does not lie in punishing someone physically, but in guiding them towards self-improvement mentally and spiritually. The young man's step of giving Princess Avani a chance instead of punishing her shows that when a person feels remorse, the process of reform begins. The greatest lesson of humanity is the great gift of humanity. The power lies in recognizing the truth, accepting it, and changing your attitude towards others. The journey of both characters shows that only when we recognize the goodness within us and bring it into our lives, we can become truly great.
If you like this, please subscribe, like, and share with others. Your support means a lot to us.